Culture with Pat here with the stars of New Life, Hayley Erin and Sonya Walger. Thank you guys so much for your time today. Really excited to chat about the film. So we'll start off with you, Sonya. As far as what was it about John's script and these characters that really kind of initially drew you to the project in the first place?
Well, I love the story. I just thought the hunter and the who is the hunter and who is the hunted in this was really interesting. And then add to that this disability that Elsa is discovering she has, and that she's working with in private, but in public all the way through, um, and that she's not telling anyone, and that she has to present all this competency via Bluetooth to her, superiors. So her voice has to do one thing while her body is doing something really quite different. I just thought there were so many layers of challenge to play just in that character alone. And then add to it, I couldn't wait to turn the page to see how it was going to resolve. So that's a double whammy. You can often get a great script, but the character's thin, and then you're going to have to just drag it all in yourself and make it interesting, although nobody's going to let you give yourself an ALS diagnosis. But, you're kind of laboring to sort of create an interesting person. Or you might have a great character, but the story just doesn't deliver. And to have one that had both felt just revelatory and like an opportunity not to be missed.
What about for you, Haley?
Yeah, I was really instantly drawn to the script. I read it multiple times off the bat. I just really couldn't believe the gracefulness with which John told this story, and so succinctly. There's no filler. It's not no one's talking about their problems really. Like, they just have their problems and kind of sort through them. And I found that it was just a really intelligently written script. It's just smart, and it treats the audience like they're smart as well. And I think that really drew me to it. And I wanted to see it. I was really excited to see what John was going to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off with a bang right from the opening of the film, and obviously I won't go into any spoilers, but at one point when the film kind of changes direction, wasn't expecting quite what happened there. So it throughout the whole movie, it kept me on my toes for sure. And I'm a big, I mean, I love film in general, but I love horror specifically. It's probably like my favorite genre. So when you kind of get into some of those more of those elements, I was like, okay. So it's really cool to see like a new new voice as far as directing goes as well. So both of your characters go through quite an emotional journey in the film. Can you just kind of talk about tapping, how you were able to tap into those characters? And we'll start with you this time, Haley.
Yeah, there's something so universal and relatable about Jess and her journey. And she's a young woman who's just trying to figure out her life to begin with. And it seems that she's in a relationship that she's getting committed, and it's just an interesting time in someone's life that you're really starting to close in on who you are and what direction your life is going in. And I found that really relatable. And then for it to be blown wide open by this unforeseeable circumstance, I found that incredibly relatable as well. My life had gone in, so many different directions that I had never expected. And the opportunity to build a character like Jess, who was going through something similar, it just really spoke to me. And I really enjoyed figuring out how to bring that onto the screen whilst not talking about it. It was a really cool challenge, and I really enjoyed it.
What about for you, Sonia?
I had sort of explored a similar-ish terrain. I had just finished playing a character on this Apple show For All Mankind. I played the first woman on the moon, and by season 3, my characters had been irradiated on the surface of the moon, as you do, and so has been going slowly blind. And so I had been working with a disability for a little while, and had found it extraordinary and interesting, and a really fun challenge to take on, as a later in life as an actor. It's just fun to get new stuff that you have to try out. So I felt quite prepped in terms of knowing the kind of research that I wanted to do, the kind of things that were going to matter to me, the kind of things that I wanted to lay down so that I wasn't thinking about them on set. So getting the what it's called the ALS claw, which is a very distinctive feature of ALS, is the way the fingers curl and can't quite hold anything. But getting that right so that I just knew how to do that when cameras are rolling, and then trying to work out how on earth you hold a gun or shoot a gun when your fingers are, frozen like that. Then a limp, working with a cane, discovering, how pronounced that was and how much we exaggerated it as the movie went on. Because although it takes place in quite a short amount of time, the decision I made is that, Elsa's really tired. Her body's tiring at a rate that she isn't used to, which would mean that this limp that would usually progress more over months might be really, really intense by the last day, because she has not been able to rest. And so, just working out the gradations of these things and then locking them in so that if you shoot a scene out of order, you know where you are in terms of the decay of your systems. So some of it's quite technical, and you just to my mind, get ahead of it so that on the day you're free to throw it all away and just play with whatever comes up.
I mean, this being John's feature debut, just the collaboration process with him. Can you just talk about what it was like working with him overall?
It's just a pleasure to work with someone who, even though it's their debut, exudes great confidence, really enormous confidence. I think this is also the plus side of working with a writer director is that there's real authority about how they, handle themselves. And John really has that. I think plus his long collaboration with Mark, the DP, meant that there was a shorthand there. They had a vision that was shared. This was storyboarded. I mean, that all felt like it felt so sturdy, the container. And I've done many, many indie films where it's just felt like you're all living in a house of cardboard. And if anyone breathes the wrong way, the whole thing's going to fall apart. And sure enough, those movies don't see the light of day, or they do, but like 8 people see them and they're all our mothers. Like it's really, I could tell that we were making something that was really robust. I had no idea how good it was going to be, and I had no idea that John's vision was then going to elevate it even further, because the edit is masterful. I think it's the final master stroke in what he's done, in that it's so slick and tight. And a lot of those scenes, particularly I would argue in the first half of the movie, a lot of those scenes were quite a bit longer and had certainly multiple setups. There'd be a close-up, there'd be a wide, there'd be multiple angles, and then you come to it and he's got one clean wide shot and that's it, and then you're out, or he's only in on a tight 2 and then the scene's over. And I watched it and marveled at the economy and how many times John must have had to kill a scene that he loved in order to keep this film at the pace that it's at. So that's a long-winded way of saying he's incredibly competent, and that's so reassuring as an actor. It lets you play if you know someone's is holding everything else.
Really, so you really came in with like a veteran presence, doing this project. And what about for you, Hayley?
Yeah, it was my first feature as well. So it was a great bonding experience for me and John. I think, I was really open-minded going into it, and so was he. And it was incredibly collaborative. And I think because I've worked really only in television up until this point, that is such a different medium. You come in and there are a lot of different people with a lot of ideas and a lot of authority. And the character is pretty defined most of the time, or you're stepping into someone else's world as a guest star, and things are quite contained, and the tone is established already. And so for me, it was just such an enjoyable experience getting to really work these things out and to create something from the ground up with John together. I just couldn't have had a better time, and I'm so excited to see what he does next. I just think he has such an incredible vision, and I love the way that it all translates onto the screen.
He's definitely a voice that I'm going to be looking out for, for future projects going forward. But I just want to say thank you to both of you guys. It's been wonderful chatting to you today. I can't wait for people to check out the film because what a ride it is. Great to meet both of you and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank
You too.
you. Likewise.